Hey VC, seeing what sort of excitement was generated by the Gimme 10 Manchester installment, it was logical for me to move on to a city where really uh, music was really fine time and time over. Talk about New York City. New York is a place where several genres were refined, invented: hip hop, bebop, boogaloo, punk. punk. Punk comes from New York, really. I mean, if you think about it. And I would like to show you 10 New York records that I really, really like. Not my, again, maybe not my 10 favorite New York records, but 10 really important New York records for me, or New York artists. And in the background, one of my favorite New York records ever, and I'm not including in the 10, I'm cheating a bit, but I'm listening to Marquee Moon television. I'm going to see the television play Marquee Moon live in about a month's time at a festival in Melbourne. The Breeders will be playing Last Splash live as well. All Tomorrow's Parties. So this is an essential New York record, but it's not one of my 10 records. So I strongly encourage people to pick their favorite New York records. There's zillions of records you can pick from. So don't feel that I've taken the best ones there, or people feel a bit funny. I've tried to include a record of every sort of major style of music that emerged from New York, just to have a broad palette, because I could have gone with 10 punk records if I wanted to, and showing Ramones and television and Patti Smith or whatever, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show 10 different styles of music, thereabouts. We're going to start with one of my heroes, inventors, scientist almost of jazz, Miles Davis. And I could have picked any record, but I've picked one of my favorite ones, which is In a Silent Way. I mean, Miles Davis is a through and through New York artist. He wasn't from New York, but he lived there for a very, very long time, and he made music there for a very long time, and he redefined bebop, hard bop, and invented electric jazz in New York. The band that plays on this is just amazing. I mean, is there a better band in the world? Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Wayne Shorter, Dave Holland, Joe Zawinul, John McLaughlin, and Tony Williams all play on this. It's just amazing. I mean, it's a who's who of. I mean, if you want to start with Miles, this is not a bad place to start. The very first electric jazz record by Miles, amazing. A band that I have to mention, and Derek's not going to like this. Sorry, Derek. A band that I like them a lot. I don't love them to death, but I think they're a very important New York band. Is the Velvet Underground, and not the Banana record because it's too obvious for me, but the self-titled Velvet Underground with Dog Hill, and some great songs. Candy Says, Beginning to See the Light, Pale Blue Eyes, What Goes On, one of my favorite Velvet songs. Really, just a really great art rock record. Really fun to listen to. It's quite an amazing record, really. And yeah, probably my favorite Velvet record, probably. Moving on, New York was also a place where a lot of folk music artists became famous. I mean, you got Dylan, Joan Baez, etc. But for me, my sentimental favorite are Simon and Garfunkel. And my favorite Simon Garfunkel album, I think, is this Parsley, Sage, Rosemary and Thyme, just because of the strength of the songs, and maybe because I've listened to it more than any other Simon Garfunkel record. And I mean, The Dangling Conversation is such an amazing song, and I mean, I love all the songs on this. There's not one song that I would not keep. I'm partially fond of how was Robert McNamara into submission, a great piss take on Bob Dylan. But I love this record, Simon and Garfunkel. Could we talk about New York without talking about Fania Records? Fania is an institution of New York, Latin rock, Latin jazz, boogaloo, salsa. And if I'm going to pick one Fania record which is amazing, it's going to be Acid by Ray Barretto. This is a splendid record. Really, you know, it's not a psychedelic record as the title seems to indicate. It's very funky, jazzy, lots of, Barretto plays the congas obviously, so it's got it's very beat driven record. It's just an amazing piece of music. Barretto Acid, Fania Records, New York. Another artist that is not from New York, from Chicago, but really I associate with New York for a great deal of reasons, is Scott-Heron. And this is his latest record, the one that he made before he passed away. And I could have included any Brian Jackson records, but I really like this record. I'm new here. It's a beautiful piece of music, and it's very tender, very spiritual. It's soul music. It's great soul music. Soul jazz meets a little bit of trip hop in it as well. But this is my soul jazz entry. I'm new here by Scott-Heron. Obviously, a direct segue to this is to hip hop, because Scott-Heron was a godfather of hip hop. You know, think about Revolution will not be televised. This is the greatest hip hop record from New York, in my opinion, The Low End Theory by Tribe Called Quest. This album is just amazing. It's a masterpiece. It's even, we'd call it hip hop for people who don't like hip hop. Q-Tip, Five Dog. The best beats, the best cuts. I mean, the beats just phenomenal. The samples are phenomenal. The rapping is phenomenal. This is a must. You know, the Boulevard of Linden, Jamaica, in Queens. Is that right? Here's one of my favorite New York records. Like, you know, and this is not the original record; it's a compilation, but it compiles basically the albums and the EPs that came from ESG, South Bronx Story. ESG is just the most magnificent band. I mean, they classify as sort of post-punk, but they're kind of a funky soul punk band, kind of sampled to death. The Scriggins sisters, who were bought instruments by their mum to be otherwise occupied instead of being on the street. It's just a phenomenal band, ESG. Love them. Obviously, could I not talk about the Talking Heads? Great arts punk band led by David Byrne, produced by Brian Eno. And if I'm going to pick one record for now, it's going to be more songs about buildings and food. An amazing array of songs with a great cover of Take Me to the River by Al Green, amongst other things. Just a superb record. Obviously, I have to talk about Sonic Youth. I mean, could I make a New York installment with Sonic Youth? My favorite Sonic Youth record is Daydream Nation. Also really love Dirty, actually. Dirty is a fantastic record. But this is a masterpiece. This is the box sets, it's 4 LP box sets. I mean, Teenage Riot is a fantastic song. And I'm going to finish with a more recent act and sort of a dance, electronic, kind of neo-crowd rock. It's got everything, this. LCD Soundsystem. With This Is Happening. LCD Soundsystem is James Murphy, label DFA, and is now not making records as LCD Soundsystem, but this is a wonderful effort by James Murphy. It's probably his best records if you want to get anything. There's even a song called New York I Love You, But You Bring Me Down, which is... Anyway, this is my New York.